Text-based RPGs are a genre I've never really clicked with. Whenever I've tried them in the past, something just doesn't land. If I want to play a game, I'll play a game. If I want to read, I'll pick up a book. Text-based RPGs always felt like they were caught awkwardly in between. Too slow to feel interactive, and too gamey to feel literary. But my brother recently talked me into trying Roadwarden, this humble little indie RPG that's about as bare bones as it gets. And while I went in expecting to bounce right off of it, it slowly won me over. Roadwarden is built around a simple premise. You, a Roadwarden, are hired by the Merchants Guild and sent to a remote, ungoverned peninsula to do what Roadwardens do, which turns out to encompass quite a lot. You're a messenger, diplomat, hired sword, and problem solver. Essentially, you're out there to make the peninsula safer and more prosperous, and hopefully re-establish contact and trade with the mainland. Roadwardens typically work alone, and since the last one assigned to this region never returned, the stage is set for plenty of mystery and intrigue. The game opens as you approach the first settlement on the peninsula, a quiet, rough little outpost that sets the tone for everything to come. Here you'll go through some early dialogue, choose your class, and define a few backstory details that shape how your journey unfolds, and from there, you're off to explore. As I mentioned, this game is entirely text-based and is very bare bones. What you'll see on the screen at any given time is a small detailed pixel art piece showing a bird's eye view of the location you're currently in. Another large text box that displays dialogue, narration, or descriptive text, as well as your speech and action options. And off to the side are your stats and links to other core menus like inventory, map, journal, and notes. The core loop revolves around exploring the peninsula region by region, observing your surroundings, building relationships with the key players, uncovering secrets, and making tough choices. It all demands careful attention to detail and planning. Who's who and what do they want? Do their goals align with yours? If you help one faction, will it hurt another? Or maybe you'll just take the easy way out and clear the fallen tree from the road. It's entirely up to you how you go about your work as a Roadwarden. All of this unfolds while you simultaneously have to manage your own survival. Vitality drains with hunger, exhaustion, injuries, or even just a bad night's sleep. You'll need to balance your money carefully between food, rest, and keeping your armor in one piece, with enough left over for stuff like potions or tools that might help you out later. Even your cleanliness matters. Show up to a negotiation with an NPC covered in mud, and they'll treat you like it, often influencing their trust in you and locking dialogue options. Now, when I say survival mechanics, I don't mean that you die the moment your vitality hits 0. Instead, low vitality simply limits what you can do. You might reach a fallen tree or a rock slide blocking your path, but without the strength to clear it, you'll have to turn back, rest, eat, and recover. It doesn't sound like a big deal until you consider that every detour costs time. From the very start, Roadwarden puts you under a subtle but constant time constraint, and that ticking clock is the mechanic that holds the whole experience together. The Roadwarden begins his journey in late summer and has to leave and report back by the end of fall. On the normal difficulty, which is what I would recommend, this is 40 in-game days. At the end of this period, the game ends, no matter what you've accomplished or left unfinished. Almost every action takes time. As you travel around the peninsula, situations become more complex and time-consuming. It doesn't take long to realize that time is your most valuable resource. When you misstep, say you wander into the woods unprepared and get bit by a giant spider, it's not die and reload at the last save. It's shit. Now I have to spend this entire day and my precious money getting back to town and getting patched up. Like I've already said, the time mechanic is one of the most important parts of Roadwarden's design. It's the glue that holds everything else together, giving weight to the survival systems and structure to the story. Without it, the game would lose much of its tension and purpose. There's a lot to do on the peninsula, and you simply won't do it all. In fact, especially on a first playthrough, you'll probably finish far less than you hoped. For me, without spoiling anything, I started out bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'll help these people with their problem, then ride over and handle that other one. I've got plenty of time. But before I knew it, it was 10 days from the end, and I'm staring at my map thinking, I still don't know how to help these people. All these mechanics combined with the stellar writing and world building create a powerful narrative experience. You're a stranger in this region with limited time to find your footing, decide what kind of person you're going to be, and determine what kind of mark you'll leave on the people who live here. The peninsula doesn't revolve around you. It moves with or without your help. Every settlement has its own struggles, every person their own agenda, all written in a way that feels very grounded and believable. You're constantly pulled between moral obligation, self-preservation, and curiosity. What makes it so compelling is how naturally it all unfolds. There's no primary questline, no A, B, and C ending. Instead, Roadwarden feels like a web of small, interconnected choices. Every day spent chasing one goal reshapes or eliminates the time needed for another. The end doesn't come as some dramatic resolution of a larger theme, but more of a summary of your impact or lack thereof. It's the result of successes and failures, and a reflection on the weight of responsibility as a Roadwarden. Ultimately, I ended up helping some, failing others, and watching things I meant to achieve fall apart. My ending wasn't a pretty one, but it felt right. That's just the way the story went for me, and I really like that. While I'm satisfied with my first run, another thing I really appreciate about Roadwarden is its replayability. I realized how much of the world I'd only glimpsed. There are entire paths, conversations, and outcomes I never touched. A single playthrough takes around 12 to 16 hours, depending on how deeply you engage with all the little details. But there's more than enough reason to go back and take different routes, make different choices, and dive into a rabbit hole you ignored the first time around. I also want to point out the audio design. Because in a game this text-heavy, sound does a lot of the heavy lifting for immersion. Each region has its own gentle theme song that quietly plays as you explore and chat with locals. Before long, you start to associate those songs with the places themselves. Out in the wilderness, there's no music at all, just crickets, wind, and the occasional rustle in the bush. It's a small detail, but it's done very well and goes a long way towards grounding you in the world. As much as I enjoyed the experience overall, there were a couple of small things that didn't quite do it for me. Maybe more preference-based than any real issue, but they are things to look out for if you're thinking of playing the game. First, the pixel art used to depict each region is great, but there's nothing in the way of character models for allies or enemies. Now the counterpoint here is that that's intentional, and I do think that that's true. The writing does a strong job describing personalities, physical features, expressions, and the spaces these people inhabit, and your imagination fills in the rest. It's meant to feel more like reading a novel than watching a story unfold. Still, it ties back to my earlier point about the genre sitting somewhere between a book and a game. Roadwarden introduces a lot of characters: merchants, guards, hermits, priests, and while their introductions are well written, they can start to blur together over time. A bit of visual association, even something as simple as a portrait, could go a long way toward helping players connect with them and remember who's who. It might make the experience less purely imaginative, but it would add clarity and weight to those relationships and to the tension of certain encounters. Second, there are role-playing style dice roll actions that pop up throughout the game. Whenever you see a dice icon next to a dialogue or action option, it means there's only a chance of success. This is a familiar concept to RPG players. The difference here is that Roadwarden gives you no information on what influences these rolls. You might face 4 options in a conversation, 2 with dice icons and 2 without, and you have no idea what affects the odds. My instincts as a player is to ask, what are my strengths and how do I use them in my choice? But here you get no data on that. It can be a bit frustrating and sometimes feels like I'm just randomly choosing and hoping for the best. There's a legitimate counterpoint to this though, and again, it's intentional design. Roadwarden is a game about knowledge and preparation. If you've done your homework, found the right tool, learned the right detail, you may just know which option has the best probability, or not even need to roll the dice at all. The system rewards foresight and curiosity over min-maxing stats. It gives the game a kind of hardcore edge where mistakes come from what you didn't know or didn't bring along, not from failed percentage chance. Personally, I lean more towards the transparent gamey mechanics where I can understand the inputs behind my choices. But here that vague design fits the philosophy. It's not really a flaw, just a matter of taste. At the end of the day, I really enjoyed Roadwarden. It's a well-written, surprisingly detailed story that reshapes itself around your actions and choices. The setting is intriguing and the characters and concepts are consistently engaging. It's not a game that will click with everyone. Honestly, it was barely for me, but I'm glad I gave it a chance. If you're already a fan of text-based RPGs or curious about trying one, Roadwarden is a great place to start. I might even check out a few more after this just to see what the genre is all about. So if you got some recommendations, drop them in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to support the channel. And until next time, cheers.